Did you see that interview?
I did. I watched the interview.
What'd you think about the interview? Let me ask you that.
I felt like he didn't want to give information away. But then when he started to elaborate on the landscape of track and field right now, I feel like he really was foreshadowing exactly what is to come when it comes to his meet, you know? So they asked him and said, what do you feel like the state of track and field is? And his answer was, we are too enamored by time. Everyone's expecting fast times now. And when an athlete lines up with a name to him, you expect him to go out there and break a record, or you expect him to run very fast, a world lead almost every time, you know? And we lost the love and the essence of true competition, which is also enjoy the race. Enjoy watching a fast race or a competition head to head where these guys or ladies are really trying to establish dominance in this race. So I think that he was 100% right on what he was saying. I agree with him. I think that we lack that interest anymore of just pure competition, and we just want to see results. But that's how the generation is, and that's how the world's lined up right now. A conveniency of results. Okay, cool. A lot of people don't even watch track and field as much anymore. They go straight on YouTube, or they go straight on social media just to get the results now. A lot of them don't even try to tune in to watch the races in real time, you know? So we need to go back to loving the sport, really, and watching the sport and watching the anticipation, how the race unravels, instead of saying, there's a time. Oh, it was a good time? Yes, that was a good race. Oh, it was an okay time? It was an okay race, you know?
I think what people don't understand, man, is they don't understand that the mental fortitude that goes into when you line up against a formidable opponent. Um, like he said, he was the guy asked him about Christian Miller, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't even really follow high school track. The kid ran a good time. He didn't take anything away from the kid. But what he is like, you should be focusing on the pros because, I mean, once you know you're the fastest person in the race, and we've all had this happen to us at some point in our career or at a point in time, if you know you're the fastest guy, there's no pressure. It's so much easier to run fast and dominate your race and move on, especially if your heat sheet looks like something like uh, 10-2, 10-2, 10-1, 10-1, 10-0, 10-0, and you're like in your 2015 season, you already rang off 2 9.7s. In your head, you could be like, yeah, I could get out and I can motor down and this be it. But then when you line up 9.7 and you like 9.7, 9.6, 9.5, 9.8, 9.8. Now you like, yo, bro, I have to be ready because any mistake I make will cost me the win. You know what I mean? You don't care at this point now of getting second and third, because if you are like one who is the one who's supposed to be the winner, you know, you have to win because that's what everybody expecting of you. So I think that's what he was trying to convey to the interviewer, that, you know, when you line up in these big races, if an athlete falls, it's not because he's not in shape or prime to run fast. That mental part could get to him where it could be at a point of, my anxiety was so high, I forgot to do this in my transition, or I never do this in the tail end of my race, and it's something I did, or I didn't have the best start because I just was thinking about so many things. What do you think on that take?
No, I really agree. I think we lose, as an audience, we forget the element of these athletes are still human. It's like they think we just pop on a track and just run. They don't realize we are actually really literally in the background at a warm-up track, getting ourselves ready after flying for how many hours to get there. You know what I mean? So the preparation is lost to, I think, the audience, and they don't realize that. I mean, look at the fact of, let's say Fred Curley. Fred Curley had a foot injury, right? Kind of derailed his progress from when he was running 9.7s, and he wasn't able to bounce back the way he needed to bounce back. Look at Trayvon. Trayvon was running 9.7s just not a couple of years ago. He just had an injury. Now he has to bounce back from that injury. You know, same thing as you look at DeGrasse. DeGrasse had a coaching change, and then he had another coaching change. So then he's getting back himself together. So when you look at athletes like that, who we're known to run fast times, and we look for them to run the fast times, and when they get in the blocks, they don't run the time that we thought they could run. It leaves us scratching our head sometimes, but we have to take in consideration that, you know what I mean, they human too. They just gearing themselves up and they have to be able to get the job done within those 9 seconds, hopefully. Do you know what I mean? Not to just entertain you, but to make sure that they are on track for the time they desire to run too.
And life happens to these athletes. So let me help some of our listeners understand. So like I know of a few athletes like this is what they're going into the race thinking, and they shouldn't, but they're human. They're like, man, this is my contract year. If I don't do good this year, they're gonna take my contract. Does that mean that they're not in good shape? No, they just have real stuff on their mind about, dang, I have to perform, in which performing anxiety can happen. You know what I mean? You put so much pressure on yourself to get something done, whether it's about a contract or they telling me if I don't stay ranked in the world top five, I get reduced by 30 or 40%. Now, 30 or 40% in anybody lifestyle is a lifestyle
It's a
change.
change.
You hear me?
Mhm.
I'm trying to tell you. So if you're making, let me just make it easy. If you're making 100K and you don't you don't make that team, they basically saying your base salary went from 100K to 60K. They took 40%. That's a lifestyle change. You got to scale back a lot.
A
You see
lot.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I think our fans sometimes they don't understand why they can't compete, man. They just fold under pressure. If you was under that same pressure, you might fold also.
100%. And right now, this is the era where it's like athletes are trying to establish dominance, right? There's no clear, I think the audience has been, spoiled by the era of the Usain Bolts, the Safas, myself, the Tysons, where you saw athletes who were dominating and they were running faster times more consistently. You got to give these athletes a little bit more grace. You know what I mean? They're still young when it comes to the track and field game, and they have a time to still get primed. A lot of these guys are just getting into age 30. A lot of them are still in their 20s. So they have time to be able to prepare themselves for by the time they really get to that priming zone, that priming era of their life, they'll be wiser, but they also will still be strong and they can combine the two to be able to be a better athlete for themselves.
Yeah, and a lot of them, you are definitely correct. A lot of them, a lot of the stars now are in their 20s and trying to find their way. You know what I mean? So there's no script to the surge and the fame they get or anybody to tell them how to handle it because everybody's strive to the top is different. You know what I mean? It's just how you take it in, what's going to happen. You know what I mean? You go from being hungry to not being hungry. You know what I mean? To changing your goals now because once you achieve that goal, you have to have another goal. If I'm the gold medalist now my next goal probably should be okay. I need to be a gold medalist again. And after that gold medal, then you say, okay, I want to sustain legacy now. I got two crowns. I'm the world champion and I'm the Olympic champion. So now I want to stretch into legacy. How will I let my name be etched in time forever? You know what I mean?